Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hello, friends. How are you? I hope you're in good health and secure. I wanted to take a few moments of your time, to talk about emails I've received, questions that repeat themselves over time. I mean, that's the nature of learning and membership and the Sangha growing, so that's a good thing. And mainly, everything's going to revolve around the cycle of life. And I say the cycle of life in the broader term, not just moment to moment to moment, as a perception of birth, death, right? But also birth, death as the entire cosmos. Because everything, all phenomena are doing this moment to moment to moment in momentum. Everything, you, me, the trees, the rocks, the planet, the cosmos, constantly reinstantiating itself from the potential that has amalgamated and pushed itself into being, moment to moment, reinstantiating itself. And because it reinstantiates itself in every moment, it's never completely the same. So let's address the first question that seems to confuse almost everyone who studies Buddhism. So every now and again I get an angry email. I got another one recently. You don't know what you're talking about. Shakyamuni Buddha never said there was no self and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. This is somebody who didn't spend the time researching my website, more than one video, if they even saw the whole thing. I have videos on this different self, the samsaric self versus the Buddha self. I mean, anyone who's been here any amount of time knows that that's just something that a young mind does. And believe me, I understand that there are 60-year-olds who have young minds. By that I mean immature. This is something that I don't think the teachings in our public schools do a very good job of teaching. Certainly not in North America. Certainly not in the United States. I can't speak for every other country, though, because I haven't lived in them. But there is a common human frailty error here that speaks directly to our Buddhist practice. And first of all, if you're a Buddhist and this is how you're going to approach another Buddhist, then I question your practice. Sorry if that hurts your feelings. But Shakyamuni certainly did speak about self, not self, not self, no self. Nagarjuna spoke on it. Many scholars have spoken on this. And the self, and most of the dialogue and stories that are talked about in Buddhism are an effort to dismantle the samsaric ideation, identification of permanence, craving and clinging, right? That's what it's all about. So that self is a constructed self, constructed of a mind that wants to possess, wants to make permanent everything. That self is a construction of the mind. It does not exist. It is not made permanent of its own what? Now, language is a problem here because then that very same moment we say, but the true self, and right away our samsaric mind is, oh, there's our identity. No, it's not about identity. It's about the process of being, the verb of being engaged with every minutia of the process of the cosmos. If you want, I mean, it goes well below atoms, but if you want to use atoms as a reference, your atoms, my atoms, the atoms of the trees, the atoms of your pet, the atoms of the air, the space, because nothing is fully devoid of everything, right? We talk about emptiness, we're not talking about an empty jar. We're talking about the emptiness of trying to grasp onto a moment that's already gone. That's emptiness in Buddhism. That's the non-self that samsara wants to cling to crave. Well, I want to be thinner. I want to be more muscular. I want to have a straight nose. I want to be smarter. I want to have. That's craving. Be in this moment, cycle. That's where your true self is an experience, not an identity, an experience. That's what you are. That's what I am. And the only way you can experience that experience is with your sentient mind. Your sentient mind vis-a-vis your opened Buddha eye. Namu, open that Buddha eye. Kyo, see, in total, moment to moment. So, what we do when we're immature is any little thing we hear that seems to, and it may not, but it seems to sound different than what we believe or what we, quote, know, we react to it. Oh, you're full of crap. You don't know what you're talking about. Hold on. Take a breath. Maturity. Maybe what you're hearing is, maybe it's just another way of saying what you already know. But you're not listening well enough to see that. It's just being delivered differently. Now, maybe what you're hearing is a complete confrontation of what you think you know. And you know what? That should make you interested, not reactionary. Maybe there's something here for me to learn. Could that be so dramatic? Maybe. But you should be enthralled at the potential of actually expanding what you think, quote unquote, you, quote, know, unquote. That is the Buddhist mindset, right? Curiosity, investigate. Know what you know from every possible angle and know what you know that isn't correct from every possible angle, because that's how you become confident in your knowledge, in your wisdom. That is wisdom, comparative studies. So before you sit down to pen or type and troll somebody with your opinion, make sure you know what the hell your opinion is, and perhaps investigate. Take a little time. And maybe you'll find you were right. This is complete hogwash. But give yourself an opening for possible expansion of what you know. Even if you don't agree with it, you've expanded your wisdom. But see, children don't do this. They just react. It takes a long time for a human mind to finally calm the hell down and really hear. What do you hear your teacher say all the time? Pay attention. That's what they're talking about. We live in a world today, and look, this is very meaningful. We live in a world today where adults are behaving like small children. This is why we have so much violence. We go to war over everything. And no, it's not about oil. It's not about minerals. I mean, that's what the media tells us. That's what the warmongers tell us. What is it really about? Ego. Ego-driven 99.999% of the time by religious beliefs. Not even real things. Magical conjured thinking. Religion is samsara at its core. It is the most expressed, most obvious display of samsaric thinking because it has no reason. It doesn't really have logic. It's all emotional, reactionary, flag waving, fist waving, me. That's where all these wars are everywhere. It's not over drugs. That's a pretext. It's not over democracy. What a joke. It's samsara. So this is what it means for you and I to practice Nichiren's doctrine of Lotus Sutra Buddhism. Shakyamuni's teaching is about overwhelming that ignorance, that samsaric juggernaut, with some kind reason, logic, observation, experience, right? Because if 1,000 people in your community say that fire doesn't burn, it only takes one of us to walk up and put their hand in the flame for a few seconds for us to wake up the entire community. You see, it burns. Right? Just observe. I'm not telling you to tell. Anyway, you understand the analogy, right? All right. So in that regard, I want to show you that I put on the website, threefoldlotus.com, there's a document that you can only see part of here. And you can see that it's from beginning to end, it's my attempt at demonstrating a flow chart of the origin of life, of how life begins, including the cosmos, and you, and me, and everything in the cosmos, begins from this engine of life and ends the same way. So you'll see there's a dotted line box there at the top. It says instant, instantiation, in a moment with energy into the next moment. This first part is the beginning. This is pre-plasma if you're a cosmologist, right? And that leads to the cosmos in the next box, amalgamation, and that process leads to organizations, biology. How do we come about? And that last box, which you can't see here, and I can't move this up. Oh, I can. Look at that. Okay. That last box has, finally, the biology evolves to a point where there's a mind to experience, a sentient mind. And this last box is the whole thing is labeled realization. Because the moment you have a mind that can experience, the 3,000 realms are influences and available to you through consciousnesses. And then that leads to samsara, what I've been talking about. And I have a big arrow that says optional. Because although Buddha is extant there, it's a decision for you to make. Will you stay ignorant and immature in samsara, or will you endeavor to open your Buddha eye? Both of them eventually lead to extinction. Whether you're enlightened or you're not, doesn't matter. Your life span has an end. And when you're extinct, whatever you were, whatever you experienced, is now quiescent again. And you go right back to the top. Right? Potential. Now, I've had charts like this before in 6, 7, maybe 8-year-old videos by now on the origin of life, the 3,000 realms. I've done more recent videos on the 3,000 realms. I have all kinds of documents on threefoldlotus.com. Please use that resource. Right? Somebody was talking to me recently about, what was it? No, not that. What Kyo means. This is a document from the website. Single-mindedness talks about, and look at right down there, Kyo Sutra, Daimoku, what that means, Namu. There are several documents, and I'll put them up here over the video as I talk. There's a definition, right? There's Kyo, I, Buddha, right? There's another document that talks about how the Daimoku is written and Nichiren's meaning in each section. I've gone through a lot of work to make these resources available, but they're meaningless if you don't use them, right? There's another one. This is on threefoldlotus.com, and I have videos about these things. So, don't take me wrong. I'm not saying that. I think we all can be a little bit lazy. Take the time to look around. There's so much information in this resource. And it's your support that keeps me building it. Now, there's a lot of information here, but there's a lot of questions about Buddhism, right? The document I haven't shown you is the comparative selves, right? I wonder if I have that here. The samsaric materialist self versus the Buddhist dynamic self, right? That's a presentation where I go through all the various ways of understanding the samsaric self and how it's surrounded by data, right? Identification, and ultimately that's how it becomes our perception of identity, whereas the Buddhist dynamic self, rather than being constructed of the skandhas, right, as we're cautioned not to be obsessed with pleasing the skandhas, ultimately, dynamic self is constantly growing, changing form because it's not beholden as a identification, but rather an experience from form, sensation, perception, formation, consciousness, moment to moment, constantly being revised. That's a very different self. And I use the word self very clearly, Mr. Email Troll. But again, you're not going to come across this information if you don't endeavor to take the time to do a little bit of investigation before you spew whatever it is that you think you know. That goes for me, it goes for all of us, because samsarically, we tend to react. We need to train ourselves, right? Chant every day, do Gangyo, open that Buddha mind, keep that swinging door of Gohonzon open, so that we allow ourselves the precious opportunity to know, to grow our wisdom. The more we understand the different ways of coming to the same answer, the more we become better teachers, better examples, better able to address anybody's questions. Bodhisattva. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I hope all of this had some value. If nothing else, please go to threefoldlotus.com. Go to the core study materials page, and just occasionally just sift through it and go, there's Namo Myoho Renge Kyo again. Or here's Myoho Renge Kyo without Namo. What's the difference? What's he talking about? What tools, what visuals can I have for myself? Can I use to help others? Oh, if I only talked to Judith about this, if I had this the other day, we wouldn't have gotten so confused, and I need to call her and apologize and have her come over and chat with me, and I'll show her this document, or I can email it to her. Maybe things will make sense, and I can apologize to her for not listening well enough. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Yeah. Shakyamuni never said this practice was going to be easy. Right? It took him many, many years of all kinds of struggles and practices that led nowhere for him before he sat down on his own for a very long time to reach this simple idea. And yet explaining it using language, not only language as a fallacy, but trying to penetrate other samsarically clouded minds so that they themselves could analyze and see for themselves their own path to awakening. Yeah. It's not an easy practice. Except that we can chant and reach that experience immediately. But if we just do it as some diversion, like playing Monopoly, how effective can it be? But if you do it with conviction, yeah, I've studied it enough to know the answer is here, and it's mine, and I can do it. I can open it. You certainly will. You certainly will. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your practice. Your support is absolutely critical. So thank you for liking, subscribing, for purchasing an ebook, for going on Patreon, PayPal, any support. You're all patrons. You're all bodhisattvas making the effort to continue this resource and reach more people with it, to increase their confidence so that they tell two people, you tell two people. Eventually, we're going to conquer that samsaric juggernaut. Won't that be the day? Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Take care of your health. Savor your practice. I'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye for now.